Hi, I know we all are suffering through a situation which we never faced before. We all are suffering a lot, but we won't get this time again. So it is better to utilize the opportunity to learn new things and to acquire new skills. So to become more healthier and wealthier, we have to do something. To become more healthy, we have to stay inside and we have to use social distancing, and to become wealthier we should we should follow certain principles in our life. So we will start with personal finance. This is Dr. Simon. Welcome back to my channel. Directly, here is my PowerPoint. Okay, personal finance. So before going deep into the topic, the very first thing in your personal finance is understanding your current financial state. What do you mean by understanding a current financial state? So it comprises of four key factors. The factor one is your income. Of course, your income will be a non-modifiable factor in the period of 20 to 30 years of age. So you will not be getting any major growth in your income. So it will be a constant factor. And the second one could be your expenses. It can be a planned expenses or it can be unplanned expenses like regular groceries, day-to-day activities expenses, and your health insurance, all those insurance, and your new buying, anything, whatever it can be. And then next one is a debt. What is the debt level? I used to calculate my debt level as what percentage of my salary is going for pay of my EMIs. I used to calculate that. So I will be telling one interesting thing about this debt. And then fourth one is your savings. It can be anything. It can be a land, it can be a home, it can be a gold, whatever it can be. It can be a liquid cash, whatever it can be. Some of them will be keeping the money in fixed deposits also, whatever it can be. But whatever the savings, make sure that it should be converted to liquid cash very easily. The liquidity of the particular asset should be very easy. What are the goals? It can be a short term goals or it can be long term goals. It can be any goals, anything for specific reason, whatever it can be. Short term goals generally call us less than 5 years, long term goal more than 5 years. It can be 30, 40 years also. So I train methods for types of goals. If you follow, if you are in need of short term goals, you can go for any recurrent deposits or fixed deposits. You will be getting the returns of around 6 to 7%. And if you are very confident, you can go for mutual funds and equity also. You will be getting the returns of more than 10% at least. And if it is a long term goals, always go for new equity, direct equity, and some knowledge regarding stock market and how to invest, and what are the factors we should keep in mind before investing, what are the principles before all those things. Acquire some knowledge about that, and then go for equity, and then mutual funds, and then PPF, and all other government schemes, whatever it is. Mutual funds is nothing but they are also going to invest in stock market, but the headache where to invest, there is always a market risk, always a market risk. And you can go for PPF also. PPF you will be getting 7.9 to 8% of returns. Others also you can go, you can liquid funds also is there. And specific needs is it's better to consult your certified financial advisor, nothing else. Factors which is going to influence your personal finance. Your age, of course, your age is very important factor, because as soon as get a job, you better get in with the savings. Because if you're starting your savings by 20 years of age, in next 30 years, by 50 years you will be finishing your, that's what I'm telling. Your goals in your financial independence will come very sooner. So financially you are more independent. And family size, of course family size is very important factor, because how many of them working, it can be nuclear family or it can be combined family, or how many of them are working in that particular family, those things are important. The major thing which is influencing is how many dependent persons are there. It can be smaller kids, it can be an elderly person, it can be a disabled person, those who are not able to make money for their day-to-day activities. If you are taking care of them, it's nothing but a dependency only. So what is your total income after your tax? So if your inflation is nothing but the surge in a price in a period of particular time because of increase in demand and decrease in supply. Now, suppose if you have bought a product for 10,000 today, and 1 year later you are paying 10,700 for that same product, it doesn't mean that the shop owner increase the price. The inflation itself is contributing to the increase in price. Of course, the next factor is interest rates. In this case, Reserve Bank of India is our organization which will keep the interest rates, which will fix the interest rate. Suppose you are paying a EMI for 10% of interest rate, anything for any personal or home, whatever it is, 10% you are paying, and suddenly RBI is coming to media and announcing that we are cutting the interest rate by 25 bps or point 25 bps, they are telling 25 bps points we are reducing, so interest rate will get reduced by 0.25. So I will be giving just a brief introduction about inflation. So inflation is a form of taxation without legislation by Milton. So whether we are working or not working, it's a secondary. But we have to pay for inflation. If you are living in this country, you have to pay for inflation. Whether you are working or not working, it doesn't matter for inflation. Every year, 7 to 8% you have to pay as a tax for inflation. So acceptable limit of inflation is 6 to 8% every year. Suppose if the inflation is more than 8%, because of increase in demand, the inflation is increasing. So when you are increasing the production, the demand will come down and supply will increase. So inflation will come down. So when you are increasing the production, so inflation is nothing but double-edged sword. So less than 6%, the GDP will be very less. I mean main slide. So suppose if you are a person which you are getting in 35,000 rupees as a monthly salary, you can classify that as a 30, 55, 5 and 10%. In general, people are classifying the income as a 30, 50, 20 rule. 30% for savings, 50% for your expenses and 20% for wants. I am telling because in every recession or every economical crisis, we will be learning new things. I understood it is better to keep at least 5% of your salary as a liquid cash to manage any kind of crisis in the future. So you can keep these expenses 55% in this house rent, electricity, insurance, groceries, regular activities, regular spending, everything. And the next one is 5% of liquid cash you have to keep and 10% for unexpected expenses. I will tell what is this unexpected expenses. Suppose you have met an accident, which nothing happened to your vehicle, but somebody vehicle are damaged. For that, you will be ready for that already. If you are not met with anything, it's well and good. You can keep that money in liquid cash and put a 15% of your money as a liquid cash and keep. You can ask me here, what happened to the inflation? Suppose if you are keeping the money in bank, the inflation will erode the money, right? And you have to keep 30% of your income as a savings. The 30% of 35,000 is nothing but a 10,500 rupees. The 10,500 rupees you have to keep as a savings. It's a mandatory. So 30% total income is 10,500 rupees. So we will see. Now you have 10,500 rupees in your account for savings. Okay, depending on your risk profile, so what kind of person, so we will assess your risk and you can modify your plan according to your risk. So in x-axis you can see the CAGR returns, 0 returns, 6 returns, 12 returns, 18 returns, 24 returns. It is given in a CAGR, compounded annual growth returns. In y-axis you can see there is no risk and there is mild risk, intermediate risk and high risk. You can see here no risk, the person who is ready to take no risk is getting only 6 to 7% of interest. CAGR. It can be either fixed deposit or any other government scheme, but I don't think so. Anything is there without any risk. In fixed deposit also there is a risk. Suppose the bank is bankrupted, they won't be giving fixed deposit whenever you want. There is a risk everywhere. And in case of mild risk, you will be getting the returns of around 8 to 9% of return. In mild risk, method of investment is nothing but a liquid funds and investing in corporate bonds, all those things. And the gold is lying between the no risk and mild risk. Gold in general giving returns of 6 to 8% returns. Of course, the last 2019 and 2020 gold has given enormous returns, which is more than 25%. Yeah, definitely, because we had a crisis. Whenever we have a crisis, so gold will shoot up. There is no doubt in that. And then the intermediate risk, the people ready to take intermediate risk can put their money in index based mutual funds. What is index based mutual fund? Index based mutual funds is nothing but a funds which they are going to invest in top companies in India, Nifty 50 companies. That will be giving of 12 to 13 percentage of minimum, I'm telling, minimum 12 to 13 percentage of CAGR every year. So most of the funds, in if you are taking the historical returns, most of the funds have given already more than 14 percentage of CAGR. And if you are ready to take high risk, you will be getting more than 23 percentage also. Chances are there. So but I will not recommend as high risk. So we will take this as a three cases. Person A, same 10,500 rupees, he is putting the money in fixed deposit or any other government schemes, anything. You will be getting the returns of 7%. And you are investing the money for 30 years. How much you will be getting in the maturity amount? Probably 1.3 crores you will be getting. Okay, you have got 1.3 crores. I am telling you haven't got any money. Why? Because the inflation is 7%. Your returns is 7%. So what is the real return? It's a 0%. There is no return. If you are every month, if you are putting 10,500 rupees in SIP, 7%, you will not be getting any money. So what is the money which is remaining in your account? It's empty. There is no money in your account because you are not beating inflation. Suppose you will take the person B. Person B quite smart and he is putting the money in liquid funds and corporate bonds. So liquid funds also some kind of funds which is giving more than 7%. Definitely there is no doubt in that. 7.8 to 9%, 8%, 10% also is there. And bonds also will be giving the returns of 8 to 9%. Say he is putting in my money in bonds and liquid funds. Same 30 years, but he will be getting the amount of nearing 2 crores. 2 crores he is getting. So if he is getting 2 crores, but he is competing, he is beating the inflation by 1 to 2%, right? Yes. So we will take this third person as a rich dad son because he is doing something differently. He is investing the money, same 10,500 into index funds. Index funds are expected to give 12 to 13 percentage of returns. So same 30 years he did SIP manner, same 10,500, but what he got was around 4.1 crore. The total wealth gain itself is a 3.8 crores. So he is beating the inflation by around 5 to 6 percentage. So probably he will be getting the better return than person A and person B. So what is index funds? Index funds are generally a funds which comprises of top Nifty 50 companies. Generally they are mutual fund companies. They are investing the money in top Nifty 50 companies like Reliance, Hindustan Unilever, Maruti, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, all top 50 companies. So top 50 companies are expected to perform well in future. So what this intelligent investor did, he puts his 33 percentage of money in equity and 33 percentage of money in gold and 33 percentage of money in liquid funds and bonds. So equities are expected to give returns around 12 to 13 percentage of CAGR minimum, and golds are expected to give around 7 to 8 percentage of returns CAGR, and liquid funds are expected to give around 8 to 9 percentage of returns. So if you are calculating average return, probably it will be coming around 10 percentage of CAR. If you are dividing our investment amount into three parts, and then returns are expected is around 10%. Suppose in a scenario equity is getting crashed, so gold will be compensating for that crash. So if equity is crashing to minus 10%, the gold will be shooting to 10 to 12%. Like that, the portfolio will get adjusted. So average you will be getting returns of around 10 to 11% of CAGR. High risk, which is more than 25% of CAR, and it is not recommended also because most of the people who is getting monthly income are salaried employee, so it is not recommended as because it's a high risk instrument. So what are the index funds and what are the historical returns of index funds? There are n number of index funds are there, more than 100 index funds are there, but the very common and very famous funds are ICICI Pro Index funds, which has given CAGR 15%, in history last 10 years, and UTI Nifty index 13%, HDFC index fund is given 14% of CAR. This every data is taken from before COVID. Of course, after COVID outbreak, we had a huge fall in stock market, so all the index fund returns become negative in last 1 year return. Last 5 year return, it is maintaining around 6 to 7% of CAGR. So next 10 year, 15 years, index are expected to give more than 15% of CAGR. To an individual, that whether we have to go for funds like fixed deposits, which is going to give only 6 to 7% of CAGR and which is not going to beat inflation, or funds like liquid funds and corporate bonds, somehow which is beating inflation by 1 to 2%, and the funds like index funds, which is going to give more than 13% of CAGR. So whether we have to decide, if you want to form a tree, anything like that, you have to go for index funds. So the returns are expected is very high. So one thing we have to understand before investing in any kind of funds, whenever there is a risk for index funds, definitely economy is going to collapse. So when the economy is going to collapse, even fixed deposits or any other RD funds also will be in trouble. So keep in mind that when the huge economical problem, definitely all kind of safety funds also will be in trouble. So it is wiser to go for a funds which is giving a moderate return like 13 to 14% of CAGR, like index funds, rather than the funds which is giving 6 to 7% of CAGR. Thank you.